So, Detria Baker, we have you as the Afro Cosplay. We had the pleasure of meeting at Space Coast Comic Con in 2020.
Yes.
And when I met you, you were dressed as Monica Rambeau. And you had this big, beautiful afro, and I just wanted to, I actually wanted to wear it. I just, I really did. I was just like, man.
There's something sassy about when you put that hair on, it's like,
I know. I mean, I bought myself a pink wig, but it doesn't fit. So it's just like, screw it. I'm not even going to go there. Right. And, I have to say, you've got curves.
Yeah.
I have got curves, and I personally wouldn't get myself into spandex, so I give you a lot of credit for doing that. And you happen to mention that you weren't into cosplay until you dressed up in one of your husband's characters. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, my husband is Terance Baker. He's an independent comic book artist. He runs a company called Baker Studios, and he created this character, and she was actually based on me, so she kind of looks like me. And he created this character, and he drew her very shapely, and she had on spandex and all of that. And so he approached me about cosplaying this character. I was like, oh, yeah, no, it looks good on paper, but, I'm a woman of a certain age, and, no. So he actually got me a costume. One day he said, just try it on, we'll go from there. So I tried it on. It was still kind of like, no, you can't expect me to go anywhere with this on. So he kind of talked me into it. And ironically, my very first time cosplaying the Pink Hammer was at MegaCon.
Wow, that's a big one.
And that was the reception that I got in that costume at MegaCon amongst all the other cosplayers, young, old, skinny. It was amazing. And it kind of showed me that, there's room for everybody in the cosplay arena. Even if you're curvier or a certain age or whatever, there's room for everybody. So that's how I got started cosplaying at MegaCon. Yeah.
I have to say, because I was kind of looking up some of the I said, Pink Hammer, where does that come from? And I started looking through some of his covers, and she's a badass. So the fact that he drew that and was inspired by you, is that's love. That, and maybe he's a little bit frightened of you. I don't know.
Well, interesting fact, in my younger life, I was in the Army, so.
There you go. So you really are a badass.
Yeah.
And so I've seen, going through the social media and stuff like that, I've seen the other characters. Queen Ramada. I'm going to say it, Ramada.
Yeah, Queen Ramonda, she is actually the Black Panther's mother.
Yes.
So, yeah,
I saw that regal headdress. I'm like, how in the world? Where do you find your costumes?
Okay, so I actually made that hat.
Wow.
I took like a regular sun hat. I flipped it upside down and kind of covered the top and decorated it. And that became Queen Ramonda's Crown of Glory hat. Yes.
Well, I mean, I just saw that and I said, oh my God, that is because there are some people, and it's not just Pink Hammer. It's not just Queen Ramonda. You have Ms. Marvel.
Marvel, yes.
Yep. And there's and Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, right. I've also done Storm from the X-Men. Mrs. Incredible. We were talking about the Incredibles earlier. This is incredible. And, you know, she's very
yes, yes.
very curvy. So yeah, our costumes, a lot of the times, my husband orders them. He's like the costume person. But we are going to start working with a seamstress to make some customized costumes. So I'm looking forward to that, because it's not always easy for me to fit into the off the rack costumes and for them to look the way that I want them to look. So yeah, we're going into working with a seamstress and kind of kicking it up just a little bit. So yeah, and I'm excited about that. Yeah.
It is just, you know, again, it's been so long since I've personally been to a convention where, you know, like you were saying with your first experience at MegaCon, and you're showing off Pink Hammer for the first time. And, I mean, that must have scared you to death to be in that. But I've noticed that the atmosphere, you know, people are very accepting, you know, and they're fun to be around, and they're probably just as kooky as the rest of us, you know, and it kind of takes us outside of ourselves, you know.
It does. It really does.
When you're, go ahead.
I battled depression for some time, and once I started cosplaying, you know, it just, once I put on those costumes and you get out and you see a little kid and they're like, oh my gosh, and they come up and they hug you, and it's like, oh my goodness, that it just makes my day, you know. It totally makes my day. Or I see a young or teenage Black girl who says, wow, you know, I thought I was the only one. So to see me cosplaying is like, you're not the only one. You know, I'm a nerd too. You know, it's okay.
So if you were to talk to your younger self, being that you kind of did cosplay later on.
Oh yeah.
You know, much into your adult, what would you tell your younger self, knowing what you know now?
Oh, wow. Just to be you. And it's okay to be you. You know, I grew up a big fan of Doctor Who, and I didn't know anyone else that looked like me that was a fan of Doctor Who. So I kind of kept it hidden like a secret. Like, even when people would talk about it, like in school, I just, you know, I don't know what you're talking about, because I thought people would judge me. So as I became older and more comfortable in my skin and what I like, it's fine. It's fine. We all like what we like, and that's fine. It's great to be me, and it's great to be you. And it's, you know, just I would tell my younger self, just be you. Just be you, be the best you that you can be, and don't worry about what everyone else thinks, you know. So
I think that's the hardest thing to do is, especially when you're younger and you don't have that experience of, you know, and it's really hard for kids these days because of social media. Every mistake is online, you know, and just the cyberbullying and things like that. I mean, it's really crazy, and it's such a different world than from what we grew up with. I'm so glad that I didn't have social media when I was a kid. You know, let me forget.
The other day, like, oh, if there had been social media, I would have been a total basket case. Because now it's for the young people especially, it's all about how many likes you can get, or, you know, what's wrong with me if I don't get the likes. And there's nothing wrong with you if you don't get the likes. Just as long as you like it and you're happy and confident with what you're doing, the rest will fall into place, you know.
There was a younger woman on Facebook, and she says, oh, you know, I'm going through my feed and I'm so depressed because everybody's living these fabulous lives. And I said, no, you know, I said, that is a snapshot. That is a moment in time that is probably staged.
Oh yeah, it took like 100 times to get that picture.
Oh, to get the right angle.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and I said, you just have to take it for what it is, you know? I mean, we all try to put our best selves on there, and it's kind of shocking to me, you know, when you have actors or actresses that get in front of the camera with no makeup on, and then everybody says, "Oh, you're so brave." I'm like, that's not brave. That's real. I'm like, what's wrong with you, right?
They have oily skin and pimples just like the rest of us.
Yes, yes. You know, and one of the things that I had to learn when I was growing up, because I was always awkward. I mean, I was just really socially inadequate, to put it nicely. And, you know, I had to have it in my head. It's like, okay, every new experience, even though it's scary, it's a new experience.
Yeah.
But it didn't kill me.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, if you can survive it, then you can do something with that knowledge, you know, and you can either let it bring you down, or you can help it propel you forward into the next thing, you know? So, I mean, that was kind of like my mantra for the longest time. It's like, if it didn't kill me, I'm okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Independent Creators Connection. Like, what does that do? Obviously, just from the name, you know, independent creators, you've got writers, artists, and things like that. What else do you guys do?
There's writers, artists, colorists, people who color comic books, painters, actors, cosplayers. So Independent Creators Connection was my husband's brainchild. My husband, like myself, was also in the military. He retired after 24 years.
Wow.
Back in 2010. And kind of once he retired, he was trying to find himself, like, what do I want to do? He got a job, and he wasn't being fulfilled by it. So as long as I've known him, he's always drawn. He's always has a piece of paper. Even when we're at the restaurant waiting on our food, he's got a napkin and he's just drawing. And he had like a collection of comic books that he had made himself.
Oh, wow.
Over the years, like with paper and pencil, and he had them in a binder. And so he kind of had gotten into Facebook, and he was in a lot of different groups, but he said he didn't find one that really met his needs, like what he wanted to put out there. So I think it was in 2013, he started Independent Creators Connection on Facebook. Probably 60 people at first. And it just kind of grew from there. So a lot of what Independent Creators Connection does is help artists to kind of network. So there have been a lot of people that have collaborated with each other over the internet. A lot of people have been able to live their dreams of publishing their first comic book because of the connections that they've made through Independent Creators Connection. There have been independent films that have been made as a result of Independent Creators Connection. All kinds of things. And now, to this date, there are over 10,000 people in IC, and that's pretty awesome. And we've actually had 2 ICC comic conventions in the Orlando area. Yeah, so it's been pretty interesting, pretty fun, and it's actually spun off into TCC, which is the Cosplay Connection. So it's just a great place for people to come together, and just really like-minded people who are in the comic industry or creators of any form to come together, you know, in a judgment-free zone. And just, you can geek out and you can be yourself. And yeah, it's awesome.
Now, so you didn't always do this though. So was this, what kind of brought you into the fold? I mean, obviously you had to get over that fear of being in a tight pink spandex outfit and get in front of people. But then, I mean, that broke the ice. So what kept you going on and just say, are you the one that says I want to be that character next, or do you get influenced by your husband, or
Yeah,
uh,
I get a lot of influence from him. And he's like my biggest fan, I must admit. But sometimes I'll see a character like Queen Ramonda when I first saw the commercial for Black Panther and I saw her character, it was like I have to do.
Angela Bassett, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh,
Arms
she's.
like oh, she's awesome.
I'm usually terrible with names, but she is
Yeah.
just so regal and just, she's just so.
Yeah,
That woman's a queen. That woman is a queen.
a woman of a certain age, so I just I had to do her.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that it's age appropriate as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Pink Hammer and some of these other comic books, obviously not tailored to a younger audience.
Right.
So it kind of goes towards the adults.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes it a little bit more acceptable for people who want to play with it, who want to be in those costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say age appropriate, it's just, I don't even know what that means, because, when we're putting on the mask or the wig, or, we just take on this whole aura. And do you feel when you're dressed up, do you kind of take on that? Do you find that you stand a little different, you act different,
I do. Yeah. I'm normally a pretty quiet, laid back person, but especially now that I'm doing the Afro cosplay, as soon as I put that Afro on, it's just like, oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling myself. I'm getting into character. And it's just cool. And like I said, when you battle depression or things like that, sometimes you need something to pull you out of it, to kind of make you feel good about yourself, Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really enjoy it. And it's every time I put on a different costume and I go to a con and people are just like, wow, can I take a picture with you? It just blows my mind even still now, and I've been doing it now for a couple of years, but it's like, really? okay
Now that is such a blessing to find something like that can actually pull you out of the dark place. I also have depression every once in a while, and it's finding things that bring me joy, that can actually take me out of that place, and just that little bit of inspiration and motivation, whether it's because most of the time, I work from home. Mm-hmm. So on top of being that awkward girl that I remember, and then working from home and the adult interaction and stuff like that, it's like, after the day I'm spending, I talk to my dogs. Mm-hmm. And so it takes you out of this comfort zone. So for me personally, it's not putting on a costume, but I actually have this character that's in me that I've had for a really long time, and I summon her, and, and she gives me that strength. But if you don't mind, would you mind talking a little bit about the depression, what you do to overcome that beyond cosplay, when you're just kind of home, and and it just feels like it's coming in on you? What do you do?
Right. So I actually found that this worked by accident one day. I had been in the bed all day, and I was like, I've got to get up. I've got to do something. It was a really nice day. So I got up and I started walking, and I walked to the end of the street, and I was like, okay. And I just kept walking. And before I knew it, I probably had walked a couple of miles. Yeah. And it's like I felt so much better after I did that walk. So I literally walk. I'll put on my headphones and listen to some music, or sometimes I'll listen to a podcast or something just to be out and about. Because for me, once I get in that bed and I just start laying there and just laying around, it seems like it gets worse. So, and I know when it's happening. So I literally now I get up before I go to work and I get on the treadmill like Monday through Friday, even if it's for like 30 minutes. And I kind of walk to get my mind right, you know, get in some extra steps, but it just kind of releases those endorphins to kind of get that depression off of me, if only for a temporary time. Sometimes that's all you need, just to get over that hump, you know, so you can make it through the day. So for me, I walk.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a great way to just get whatever's out of your mind, you know, whatever might be bothering you and stuff. Yeah. I've actually just recently started walking, and I feel good. It was more for health because, I mean, it took me, I say I have baby weight, but my baby's 21.
And
so now, do you have kids?
I do. I have a 24-year-old. He is in the Army. He's stationed in Hawaii. And I have a 12-year-old as well. So, yes, kind of.
Yeah.
And I'm actually a grandmother.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for their service. I've got 2 boys in the Marine Corps right now. So that's tough. That's tough to.
You understand.
I totally understand.
Oh,
yeah. And I'm waiting for the phone call to say, hey, you know, you're going to be a grandmother. But I told them, I said, there's no rush. Children will ruin your life. Not in a terrible way, but you know, if you want your lifestyle right now, you might want to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay, so how do they feel about you getting all dressed up? And do they participate?
My 12-year-old definitely participates. You're subject to see him in a con with us. He might work the table with his dad, or he may be in costume with me, and his dad cosplays as well. The 24-year-old. So when I started cosplaying and started to post it online, I kind of had to talk to him. So this is what's happening. But he was already, I guess I had started cosplaying when he was in high school. So he was kind of, I think he had gotten over the embarrassment of it all. And now he's always probably one of the first ones to like a picture or something. So it's the maturity is coming now. So he's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I figure, you know, I don't know if it's evil mom or anything like that, but every once in a while, I just feel like, you know, I live to kind of embarrass my kids a little bit. It keeps them humble because I don't care. I don't care. I really, you know, I'm like, I don't care if I make a fool of myself. You know, I've been through that, you know, where I just had to be, you know, walk the straight and narrow. And now it's like I embrace the weird a little bit, you know, because it's fun. And yeah, my kids are like, Mom, you know, and they're over it. They know. I said, hey, you know, this is what I was saying about kids will ruin your life. You know, I said I had to put off the weird until you guys were like old enough to understand that I don't care. You know, I got that umbilical cord.
Exactly.
So that's really good that they accept, you know, because there are some people like, you know, I don't want to associate with, I don't know that person, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really nice that you have that, the family acceptance. And then your husband also cosplays, and I have seen him in a few Okay, so he's been doing this for a while.
He has. Like I said, I cosplayed back in 2013-14, and then it would kind of be sporadic for me. I'm amping it up more now, but he's been very consistent with it. The cosplay, creating new material. He's published I think about maybe 20 comic books or so.
Wow.
That he published or he collaborated with other people to publish. But yeah, he's been cosplaying and just in this whole arena consistently since 2013. So yeah, he's somewhat of a celebrity kind of in the local.
So I have to ask, did you know about this when you first got together, or did he kind of spring it on you and go, guess what, honey, I like to get dressed?
Well, like I said, I've always known that he was an artist and drew. We actually met in high school and kind of went our separate ways into our 20s and lived life some, and then kind of brought it back together. So I always knew that he was into, drawing. Cosplay was not something that I was too aware of. I thought, okay, put on your costume for Halloween and, but so, yeah, he kind of brought me into the fold. And as soon as I went to MegaCon, I was just in awe because there was so much to see. There were all kind of people cosplaying in wheelchairs. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Like I saw someone who had like a tank. Their wheelchair was a tank. And I thought that was everything, like little kids. And so, and I'm a nerd girl. So to see that, I just felt like, oh, I could just be myself, this is awesome. So I kind of was into it and out of it, life and things, but now I'm kind of at a place where I can devote some more time to it. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to what the future brings. Before this, I wasn't a big social media person, so I'm getting I have my Instagram page up, and I've been off of Facebook for some years now personally, but I'm going to start an Afro Cosplay Facebook page as well, because I know a lot of people are into Facebook, and I prefer to do it on a professional level than like a personal thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Black characters don't often get they don't get nearly enough advertisement or just promotion and anything like that. So to have that, I think the awareness. I have a friend of mine who she grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and it was depressed. Yeah. And so to find heroes who, like you were saying before, that look like you is really hard. So you're really an advocate, I think, for young women.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful, and it does empower them, I think, because it gives them permission to break out into their weirdness, and really find that sense of self and embrace that, because that's really what makes us the unique individuals that we are.
Yeah. And I should add that my husband's comic books are primarily characters of color. So, and that's really the lack of seeing those characters of color in the mainstream comic books is what made him go independent and start drawing his own comic books that featured, strong heroes and villains of color. So yeah, that's really what kind of made us get started with it. And that's probably one of the main things we hear at conventions. It's awesome to see a character of color. It's awesome to see this comic book that features, characters of color. So that's kind of our emphasis, and thus the Afro Cosplay. I love cosplaying, but I like to put my own twist onto the characters. So I'm having a Wonder Woman costume made, and she's going to be Afro Wonder Woman. Actually, Wonder Woman.
Where are you going to debut that?
It's the costume is in the process of being made now. So I'm actually going to do, Wonder Woman has a sister that's a Black sister. Her name is Nubia, and she was like back in the day Wonder Woman from the comic books sister. So I'm going to do Nubia. I'm not sure where I'm going to debut her at yet, but I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So you're going to have like the bangles and the hair, the headband, the boots are everything. I love them. Right.
They're totally everything.
And being a cosplayer, I think that's a really important thing to think about when you're putting together a costume. I mean, if you had to give advice to somebody who is putting together a costume for the first time, and they're looking at a weekend of being on their feet.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, like, what would you? So now that you've been doing it for a few years, what would you tell a brand new cosplayer? What would be your advice?
You do not have to look exactly like that character. I think a lot of the times people want to look exactly like Wonder Woman or exactly like, Superman or whatever you're doing. You can put your own twist into that costume, and that makes it that much more fun. It makes it you. So it's you're Wonder Woman, but you can put your own twist, thus the afro, into that costume and personalize it to you. Because chances are, unless you're doing like an independent character like the Pink Hammer, chances are when you go to a convention, you're going to see multiple Poison Ivies or multiple Wonder Woman or multiple Superman. And the thing that really, and they're all great, but the thing to me that makes them stand out is when they have that little something special, that little something different. So I would tell someone who's going to cosplay, make it your own. Own it and make it your own. You can come and cosplay in a t-shirt with a Wonder Woman t-shirt and some cuffs and just be absolutely fierce. It's all about own it, have fun with it, and just have fun. Because that's some people, and exactly like the t-shirt, they put the t-shirt on because they want to be a part of it, but maybe they don't have the budget or the time to put together a costume and things. And I think that's one of the things that was really nice is that it's an embracing community where, you can be you, or super you. Yes. Yes, that's awesome. That's what really appealed to me about it. After that first time at MegaCon, of course there were costumes there that I know had to cost, a lot of money and big and intricate, and that was great. But again, there were people there in their t-shirt and their fancy socks to match the t-shirt. Right. They were having a great time, So it's a inclusive type of community, and I really like that. Yeah.
It's just so much fun to be around that. It's just the energy too, that makes it so much fun. And it's not just the cosplayers, but like your husband being an artist and a writer, right. All of this it's also that networking opportunity for people. And then, who knows, maybe your cosplay has inspired somebody else to draw this super curvy, wonderful, empowered being, just say, I saw this woman rocking her afro and her pink costume. And I just, it just launches these ideas because inspiration comes from the strangest places.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Now, do you also write?
I do not. No.
You don't.
Nor do I draw. No. No.
Do you sing, dance? No. You get dressed? No. Yeah. No, that's good though. I mean, and is there anything else that you wanted to share about your experiences or, maybe like 5 years ago, you probably didn't think that you were going to be doing this.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so
Definitely not.
so if you were to jump forward maybe 5 or 10 years, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself still doing this?
I can see it. I could see it. Because at this point, I don't see a lot of me doing this. I see younger versions of me, of course, doing this. But I don't see a lot of a certain age doing this. And so I have no problem with doing it as long as I can look okay in it probably won't be the spandex costumes. It'll be, more age appropriate.
The flowing robes.
Yes.
Lord of the Rings, maybe.
Exactly.
But until then, it's a blast, and again, it's one of those things where you are inspiring other people to be brave, I think.
Yeah.
And embrace those that embrace the super being that's inside of us,
Yeah.
And because I think a lot of us we're just too afraid to do that. We're too afraid to take that step. And so kudos to your husband for kind of taking you out of your shell.
He really did. I owe a lot, because when I started it, I was kind of at a lower place, and I don't know. I just putting that costume on and walking into MegaCon, it was literally life-changing for me. So I definitely have to thank him for that. Yeah, he's literally my biggest fan. Like when I put on something, I'm like, not so sure. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, love is blind, but you are gorgeous anyway. Let me tell you. I've woken up with my hair out to here and just drool because I was sleeping, and my husband would be like, "You're so beautiful." I'm like, "Shut up." Right? Like, what's wrong with you?
Are you okay?
I was like, are you making fun of me?
Right. This is reverse psychology.
Oh my goodness. So now where are you guys going to be next?
Next, we will be at the Brick City Con. It's in Ocala, Florida, North Central Florida area. And I believe that's the weekend of March 22nd.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, that's where we plan on being. We lived in the Orlando area for about 10 years or so, and we just relocated to North Central Florida. So we're trying to get something going up here, kind of like we had it going down there. The good thing is that people in ICC are all over the world. So we know that we have ICC and TCC people here in this area. So we plan on having like a meet and greet coming up pretty soon. And we want to start like a cosplay group here. And we'd like to actually start a group that will visit the local children's hospital.
That would be a lot of fun.
Visit some nursing homes, just go and do things around the community, So we're looking forward to getting that started, and just attending some conventions in this area. But of course, we'll be in Orlando a lot because that area has a lot of conventions.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at the calendar. My goodness, yeah. I mean, there's TF Con with the Transformers, and then you have
Ranger Con, and just everything you can imagine is really in that area. We moved here for work, and we're actually from this area, but as far as conventions are concerned, Orlando is like a hotbed. Of comics and conventions and cosplay. So we want to try to bring some of that to this arena, especially because my husband's already established with it. So hopefully we can get something going up in this area. So we're excited.
I really appreciate your time. And, you know, I mean, we've kind of been playing a little bit of social media tag, I think. It's like, where's the best place to reach you? So where is the best place to reach you? You said Instagram?
Instagram for now. I'm under Detria Baker, the Afro Cosplay. And my husband posts a lot of my content on Independent Creators Connection on Facebook and the Cosplay Connection on Facebook. And like I said, I'm literally within the next couple of days, we'll be starting up a Facebook page, you know, to highlight the Afro Cosplay. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I know I have to catch up with the what's in now and get into social media. So I'm looking forward to that. But right now, that's where you'll be able to find me now on the Afro Cosplay. I'm building my page. So, you know, anyone out there, feel free to follow me and I'll follow you back. And I try to post something every day or at least a couple of times a day because I have a lot of cosplay content to post. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to be able to participate in interviews like this. This is awesome. Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I
really appreciate you taking the time with me because, you know, people are like, they might have heard of Geek Insider. They're like, who are you? I'm like, hey, you know, I'm just a part of a cog in the wheel, you know?
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you. And we're gonna end the broadcast here.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much.